Hi, I'm Brett with the Craft Beer Connoisseurs, and before this episode begins, I just wanted to provide you with a little information on who we are and how you can stay updated on all of our content. This podcast was created to showcase craft breweries and indulge in interesting conversation. We want to help promote a variety of breweries and along the way have conversations ranging from sports to beer and beer to just about anything. Please feel free to follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons, send a friend request on Tap, or subscribe on YouTube at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Also, drop a comment, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Now stay tuned for today's episode. Welcome to Craft Beer Connoisseurs. I'm Brett.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Chris. And along with us today is our producer, Mike.
Today's episode, we will be reviewing Radical Road Brewing Company out of Toronto.
We'll be highlighting two of their beers. The first one is the Yuzu, which is a pale ale. And the second beer is a low-calorie IPA called 4-Track.
Nice, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And to finish off the episode, we will talk about our upcoming thoughts on the 2020-2021 NBA season. So stay tuned to that. That's going to be an interesting conversation.
For sure.
Radical Road is a microbrewery and brew pub in the Leslieville district of Toronto at 1177 Queen Street East. It's a black painted building with a huge decal of Radical Road in the middle, so I assume you guys can't miss that.
No,
Yeah.
it would be hard to miss that.
I would hope so, yeah.
Be interesting if you did miss it, though. Love a story around that. So their beer was inspired by the great European pubs that brought people together, which is kind of nice in this kind of time.
Yeah.
They produce a variety of styles with exciting ingredients, but always try to stay true to its roots.
Nice. So right now what they're doing is just pick up. As we know, Toronto is in the lockdown
Gray, if you will.
region.
Gray, yes.
Yeah, gray, exactly. So basically they're just letting one person in at a time, doing online ordering, and they're now doing home delivery within their brewery area for orders $75 or more. So
Okay.
I think that's awesome, and then anywhere in Ontario through Canada Post, with a flat fee, which a lot of breweries are doing.
Right.
But also available Canada-wide as well through the Craft Tap app.
Oh wow!
The Craft Tap app.
Yes. You can,
Is
you can buy beer from anywhere in Canada.
That is a mouthful.
All right?
Yeah, I'm not familiar too
I'm
much
not
with it,
familiar
actually.
with that either.
I've been looking into it.
I
I feel as though maybe do some little Christmas special, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
All right.
But they also have 10 beers offered right now, including the ones that we'll be reviewing today.
Yeah.
Plus, both a grapefruit and pineapple sour out of their Straight Up series.
Okay.
I'm a big
nice.
fan
All
of pineapple sours. I think that'd be all right.
That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Their 8-track IPA, which is a higher calorie version of their 4-pack. A Dango. English is a very hard language to me, but it's a Doppelbock. And my most favorite, a beer just called beer.
Yeah.
Very original,
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to keep it simple for those people that struggle with English. So I think we have to also shout out to and commend them on their cucumber mint kolsch. I haven't had it, but you guys
Damn,
have, right?
was
So-
it tasty.
It was really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll mention Julian now at the brewery. He hooked us up with the beers for today's episode, and he sent along a couple others, and one of them was the cucumber mint kolsch. And
and you
it was
had
really
the
good.
8-track.
I had the
IPA.
8-track, yeah.
How was that?
It was good. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. And I believe we had one extra that we pawned that off to the producer, Mike. So, Mike.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah. The perks of producing.
It'll be interesting to see when we have the 4-track whether it's similar to the 8-track, just kind of low
or
calorie.
half. I know
Yeah.
Fight's going to come in here and Brad's going to be like, well, maybe it's half as good.
Well, you know, 4 is half of 8. It just
is.
makes sense.
So has anybody actually gone to the brewery before?
I have seen it. I have not been in it,
I have not
unfortunately.
been
I've driven
in it
past it once.
Right.
I think it's close to, isn't it close to Left Field, who we did in the
Left
first
Field, Black
episode?
Lab, Rocherach, all in
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
in that kind of radius. Radical Road does pride themselves on partnerships, and one of the big partnerships they've had is with John Epping, who's
Yeah.
a
Nice.
world-renowned curler, and they have both the Epic Ale and Amber. And it's actually exclusively available at 30 curling clubs across Ontario, and also you can pick it up in the brewery as well. For
sure.
Pretty
That's
sweet
awesome.
deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I didn't know that. And so Chris and I mean, Chris, I think you still curl. I don't know if that's still on or
Not this year
no.
because of
Everything else.
COVID, but yes, absolutely.
But we're avid curling fans, so that's nice to see. I haven't had that beer, and I'm willing just to try it just based on John Epping.
yeah,
so.
it's not at my curling club, so I wonder if we can maybe I'll talk to them for next year and see if we can get
make
that
sure they
on
get
tap.
it in.
Yeah.
Make sure they get it.
Right. So I think they have an interesting kind of concept. Some of these breweries have this, and it's the Radical Roadster. So I did a little bit of research in this because I might be getting married at some point in time.
Dun,
Oh,
dun,
is that
dun.
right?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. It's still a long ways away. There's time.
But it is interesting to have the concept. So what it is it's the craft beer experience on wheels. So it kind of has this old rustic kind of trailer feeling to it. Any more information, Brett?
So they actually show up at your party, wedding, event, whatever whatever you're throwing.
Yeah.
They provide the staff, set up, give you 2 canned beers plus a specialty 30-liter keg on draft.
Like just
Nice.
2 single can beers.
Yeah,
There's
just
like,
2
here's
single
2
cans.
can beers.
It's
Split them amongst your
It's
party.
actually you fight to the death, and then whoever wins gets the 2 cans.
First and second prize.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's a premium package,
Okay.
which actually allows you to go down to the brewery, create your own beer with their beer master or brewer,
Yeah.
along with getting event-specific labels with a photo that you provide. I feel as though,
Okay.
Tyler, this could be something that might be up your alley.
Yeah, no, I definitely look into it. I don't know if my fiance would appreciate me putting the craft beer connoisseurs logo on
Yeah,
the beers.
maybe we should do a craft beer connoisseurs beer.
Right. At the wedding, though. Like, just self-promote, right? Like,
Sure,
That's what I'm
at the
thinking.
wedding.
I think that's great promotion. Just have 200 people, maybe, hopefully, never know with COVID.
I'll have to
But
talk to the partners and see if they'll split the cost then for the promotion on it.
I feel as
see
though
if we can dip
that's
it.
not coming out of the
that
connoisseurs.
That's the
bank
wedding
account.
budget,
I
not the
see.
podcast budget.
That has nothing to do with us. Just
So looking at some of the photos online of the brewery, because I haven't been before, it does have that kind of pub feel to it.
Yeah, it does.
And that's kind of the atmosphere that I enjoy as well. Going back to university days, and you have your clubs, you have your bars and whatnot. There were some kind of old pub kind of pubs out there, breweries.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that. So it's nice to see that they've kind of brought that feeling into their brewery. Their
Yeah,
pub.
and of course it sucks for them that they can't be open right now and have people actually in the pub enjoying it as it's meant to be, but hopefully shortly we'll be able to do that.
hopefully, as soon as COVID clears up, whenever that's going to be, we can make a trip down there for sure. I would
Definitely.
love to try every single one of them. Just keep getting flights. Just keep them coming.
It's
Keep them
a
coming.
great spot. You mentioned 4 breweries right
Yeah,
there. Like
exactly.
just, you could hit all
I could
those
make
4
a
in
day
short
or a
time.
week of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if they, because you mentioned that they do a bunch of partnerships. I wonder if they've set up with different breweries in there to
Right.
kind of do like a brewery kind of crawl.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I don't know if they have anything
Or even just
scheduled or
even
any
just a
kind of
collab
event.
beer as well.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
you'd
great.
think that with all those breweries so close, they would do a collab. I think some of them probably have, but I don't know if Radical Road has. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
But-
absolutely.
And
but
if they
yeah.
haven't, then we've just told them that maybe they should do that.
Yeah,
Right.
giving them an idea.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to link all of their information on our social media, much like we do with every other brewery. And we'll see if they appreciate that. I'm sure they will.
I hope so. We do have the 2 beers that we're going to review coming up next, and hopefully they taste very, very good.
Delightful. All right, welcome back, everybody. We want to thank Julian for sending us the beers from Radical Road. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Julian.
An
Thank you,
absolute
Julian.
beauty, if you will. The first beer today is a Yuzu Pale Ale, which is a 5 ABV and 40 IBU. The yuzu fruit itself is used to create a classic pale ale style, but with a twist.
Ooh, twist.
That combined with Northwest hops creates a bright blend of citrus flavors.
Nice. Sounds really good. So on Untappd, you can follow us at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. And the overall rating for this Yuzu Pale Ale on Untappd is 3.54 bottle caps out of 5 with about 4,300 check-ins.
Yeah, so it's about average.
Yeah,
average
yeah,
rating.
yeah,
for
pretty
sure.
good.
Nice. Yeah, so
This is your time.
Well, we're going to get there in a second. I just wanted to touch base on the Yuzu fruit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
I've never had the Yuzu fruit.
I don't think I have. Well, I certainly haven't had the fruit.
Right.
I don't think I've had a beer with it in it.
I don't even think I would know if you would have put it in front of me.
That was the Yuzu
That was a
fruit?
Yuzu fruit.
Yeah.
Right. You
Right?
know when you're at the grocery store and there's a bunch of things that you see and you're like, I have no clue what that is. They're like these weird like spiky fruits and stuff like that. Maybe
Like a-
one of them's a yuzu.
Like a dragon fruit? I know my
Yeah,
kids
something
point out
like
a dragon
that,
fruit.
yeah.
Maybe.
All right, boys.
Now it's your time.
Let's open her up.
I know I say it every episode, but isn't that the best sound?
and I know I say it every episode, but we want to make sure that everyone uses the proper glassware. So we're drinking this pale ale out of a pint glass.
I'm just happy to be drinking. Safely, of course.
Absolutely.
Mine got a little bit of foliage, probably in transportation here from Chris's place over to mine.
Also,
Foliage.
the producer
There's
here,
like a pine needle in it.
producer's coming in clutch with what a
Yuzu
yuzu fruit looks like. Feels it looks like a lemon, mango
Looks
kind of
like
thing.
a mix between an orange and a
Yeah.
mango, maybe.
How about we just say it's citrus?
All right.
So yeah, it's
Let's go with
citrusy.
citrus.
There it is. All right, so let's start smelling this puppy.
Well, it certainly smells citrusy.
Oh, there's a lot of citrus coming
Yeah.
off that scent for sure.
If we were more connoisseurs of yuzu fruit, we could say, yeah, that's the
It smells
yuzu.
exactly like a yuzu.
That'll be our next podcast.
Yeah.
We'll talk about fruit. Oh, yeah, no. I'm excited to drink this eventually, but I will wait my turn.
Yeah,
Attaboy.
it's like a nice kind of golden color.
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
hazy
lovely
to
color,
it.
too.
A little bit hazy.
A little bit hazy. But it is nice. It was a good frothy head on it that's lingering around, hanging around there.
Mm-hmm.
Clear-ish. It's, as I say, like you can see through it, but it's got some
Yeah,
haze to it.
not as clear as like a lager, but definitely a bit of haze there.
But that citrus just hits you right
Oh
in the
yeah,
nose.
right
Oh,
in
yeah.
the nostrils.
Which is good. Like
Absolutely.
I enjoyed the smell of it. That's
Oh,
for
me
sure.
too. Hopefully that comes.
Yeah, I was
through
gonna
in
say
the
if
taste.
this flavor comes through in the beer versus the smell,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a great beer.
So I know we've touched base on some of the fruits in the past that we have tried. Yuzu, obviously not one of them.
No.
Brett, did you farm any of the yuzus or?
No, it's hard to farm something when you have no idea what it is.
Okay, all
When
right.
is yuzu season?
Yeah, what's yuzu season? Let's producer.
Well,
can
yeah,
we get
put
on-
producer Mike on that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with this is just a
Okay,
guess.
all right.
August,
You think it's August?
mid-August.
I think it's probably going to be okay.
June to August, says Mike.
Producer Mike.
We'll give that a pass for you.
Producer Mike earning that 8-track.
For sure.
That's what I like to see there. Anything else you guys want to know before we dip into it? Because I'm holding it and it is cold and
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
I
ready
am
for
thirsty,
it. Yeah.
thirsty.
All
All
right,
right, let's go here. Oh, that is a lot of citrus coming through that. A lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is.
Almost feel like it's orange juice and beer.
it does taste a lot like orange juice.
I'm trying to let it sit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take another sip. I'm going to let it sit in my mouth a bit just to kind of see what kind of comes out
You
there.
should do that. Just keep it there for
Yeah,
like
just
20
just a
seconds
little
to see
bit.
what comes
Well,
out.
definitely not 20 seconds. Can
Spit it
hold
back
my
in.
can barely hold my breath 20 seconds.
Just want to point out that our producer Mike was doing a bit more research into the yuzu fruit. So he says that in November, December, the fruit turns to a brilliant golden yellow color, and I think that's pretty much what we're seeing in the beer.
Yeah.
So
I would
Absolutely.
definitely agree with that.
Yeah, no, it is. It's nice. I don't feel like it's aggressive in any way. You do get the citrus kind of feel to it, but it's something I wouldn't just chug.
No, I definitely
No.
would not chug this beer at all. But I would say I feel I'm getting a lot more citrus.
Yeah.
Where, for example, on the can it says "bursting with life." I feel as though this
Life,
beer itself.
life equals citrus.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's the connection there.
100%.
No,
I know exactly what you're talking
I'm
about.
glad that you've got the can.
Yeah.
As per usual. Do you want to talk a little bit about the can? What you see? What you like?
There's a little crazy design on it for sure. I don't know. It's probably parts of the yuzu fruit. But if you're playing along at home, it does say yuzu in big letters on it.
yeah, kind of cool font.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yuzu. It's hard to miss, like the logo on their brewery.
I remember I saw it at my local LCBO yesterday.
Yeah.
And if you
How
weren't
could you
having
tell?
it today,
How you could tell it was a yuzu?
because the big yuzu just stands out right there. Also, they did have prime. Let's see if we can find the word I'm looking for. Where the beer was right when you walked in. So
prime real estate.
prime real
Yeah.
estate. Thank you.
That's what we're here for, to help each other out.
Oh my god.
Today's not been the day. So Yuzu, the actual fruit itself, is a sharp hybrid of a lime, lemon, and grapefruit, and that is kind of what I'm getting. And so
100%.
again, shout out to producer Mike for finding some information on what the flavor profile of the Yuzu is. I'm getting that here.
Yeah.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks to do all
Yeah,
the research.
Mike
that he
is
can do.
definitely earning his money today.
It's about time he steps up.
Yeah.
We were only 7 episodes in here, and finally he's paying off.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get a Christmas gift.
Maybe. Doubtful.
Highly doubtful. For sure.
Chris, do you want to talk about the top 5 flavor profiles?
Yeah, so number 1 is citrusy, which I think we're all getting for
Absolutely.
sure. Then light, bright, and then not a misprint, but citrus again, not just citrusy, citrus, and then hoppy. So I agree. I'm getting quite a bit of hops at the beginning of every sip I tag, and then the citrus kind of comes in at the end after I get the hops. I don't know about you guys.
I think the bitterness, it's more bitter. And maybe it's just because I'm not a huge grapefruit fan in beer.
All right.
But I'm finding this a lot more bitter than what I thought it would be off the start as I'm getting through the glass.
So I've got 2 comparisons I'm going to draw this to, and this is going to sound maybe like a little bit of a cop-out just because of the Yuzu, but has anybody ever had like a pomelo?
I have
What the
not.
hell
No?
is that?
No.
Yeah, so a pomelo is like a grapefruit, and so we have them at our place in Florida, and that's kind of what this is. Also, I just took this last sip, and maybe because I'm like halfway through this now, I kind of, this is going to sound so strange, but maybe not. It kind of reminded me a little bit of just Sprite, just because of the lemon lime flavor.
I totally get that.
Yeah,
Like a mixture
I-
of like orange juice and Sprite.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
could be on board with that.
It was
for
just,
sure.
I just took a taste of it, and I was just like, I closed my eyes. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to really focus on the flavors here. And like, it was just Sprite-esque.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Higher
all right.
ABV in this though than Sprite.
Just
so
a
you
little
know.
bit, yeah.
I don't know what to say. But yeah, no, it's refreshing. Right?
definitely
Like,
refreshing,
it's
for
very
sure.
refreshing.
Yeah, it's very nice, and it's not necessarily what you would expect in a pale ale because of the yuzu. It's very unique. Like we said, I don't know if I've ever had a yuzu beer, but yeah, definitely a little bit unique.
Yeah, and I think producer Mike has gone full research mode here. Like, we're going to be putting together maybe a 5 to 10 page paper.
I
on
feel
what
as
yuzu
though
is.
he's going to No Frills on the way home and pick up some yuzu fruit.
He's written down notes, and I'm not. We got into diameter sizes of this.
I think
Did you know that it's between 5.5 and 7.5 centimeters? No way.
He's
Mike-
prouder than a peacock right
Mike,
now.
Mike might be starting his own fruit connoisseurs podcast.
I think
So look out for that.
Yeah, which probably has many thorns. Like
That's going to be interesting though, because you can't hear his voice. That's going to be a real silent podcast.
He's just going to be eating
flashcards.
fruit.
Flashcards.
He might want to do like a vlog with flash.
Yeah.
Straight up blog. Maybe
Perhaps
perhaps.
that might be an idea too.
No, that's good. So we like that information,
Yeah.
but I'm not getting into it.
So we've talked quite a bit about this beer. Let's see what
We've talked quite a bit about the fruit.
okay. Fair point.
And Sprite apparently.
So let's see what other Untapped users have to say about this one.
All right, so Katrina S., her username is K Sirwilo, had this to say on November 21st. She good. Her profile pic is of her drinking a frozen margarita, so she must like her mixed drinks as well.
Wow, yeah.
Wow.
Katrina gave it a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Nice,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a good rating. Obviously higher than the average, so you like to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, on to the next one. Scott G. Pharmacist Scott.
Pharmacist.
Okay, we'll have to look into that.
Do a background check on that just to make sure.
His user headlines make it enough, so that's a Simpsons reference, obviously, to beer. So we like to see the collaboration of that. So they reviewed the beer in this way. The aroma on this one is just insane, almost like a trip to the tropics. Flavor is also great, plus lots of bitterness. Scott gave the beer a 4.25 out of 5.
That would literally be my review,
Yeah.
I think, of this beer.
I can't
Yeah?
disagree with anything that Scott said.
What about Katrina? Anybody got any disagreements?
I feel as though she
she
could have went
good.
longer than
Yeah.
she good.
She good?
It's
Yeah.
good, for sure.
Yeah.
For
All
sure.
right, yeah.
So
No, it's good.
I'll start us off with our ratings. I'm going to be probably right around the average, so I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Yeah, so I think I'm sitting probably around the average as well with a 3.5.
I am not going to break the average. I'm also sitting at a 3.5. Our producer, He's giving it a 3.5 as well, so this should be an easy mathematics for him.
Yeah,
Chris, what's the math on 3.5 times 4?
I think that
Divided
gives
by
us
4.
an average of 3.5. Hard to screw that one up.
About time we had more decimal points in there.
A little consistency.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to beer number 2. That's going to be on its way next.
All right, the second beer today is the 4-track IPA, and it has an ABV of 4.0 and 0 IBUs.
That's interesting.
That's
That's weird.
IPA?
IPA with
0
0 IBUs.
IBU. Okay.
Yeah. And also, it has less than 100 calories,
Nice.
and it has no residual sugars, and it is keto friendly.
So when you say less than 100 calories, is that 99?
It is 99 calories.
I was
yeah.
going to say, I feel as though it's the old Wayne Gretzky beer, the old 99-calorie one.
It could be the great one. so this is a session IPA brewed with a touch of monk fruit. Okay.
Oh, another new fruit.
I was just going to say, I feel like we're in the fruit business here, boys. Producer Mike coming in here. It looks like
It looks like a plum.
it kind of has a plum-ish, but also like a kiwi skin to it.
Yeah.
I'm weirded out by this monk fruit
Thank
already.
you, producer Mike. So it's a full balanced mouthfeel that has all the flavor of an IPA, just half the calories, and no IBUs.
This is going to be interesting to get through for sure.
It will.
The 4-track IPA has an overall rating of 3.33 bottle caps out of 5 and only 182 check-ins as it's just been recently released.
Yeah, so the monk fruit itself, it's native to southern China and northern Thailand.
Oh, you know a little bit about that. Thailand.
So I did go on a trip to Asia for those who didn't know, and if you didn't know, then obviously you haven't heard me talk.
I think every listener knows by now.
Everybody knows you went.
But it was not northern Thailand, so I don't believe I actually tried any monk fruit when I was over there.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, so we'll get back to the almanac of producer Mike shortly when we move on to it. But yeah, so we did the bottle caps. We're all good on that. So let's move on.
I
to
think
the
the
next
one
part.
point I will point out is that this is only in a 355 can, not in a 473,
interesting.
which makes sense why it's only 99 calories.
Yeah.
Hey,
If you went to 473, it'd be over 100.
It's
For sure.
it's a good marketing ploy, that's for
Exactly.
sure. I appreciate that. That's nice. All right, so I can see the boys priming here.
Let's go.
Prime it up. All right, so this is definitely my favorite part because it's listening to me speak. So let's open her up. Brad just got squirted in the eye. Holy cannoli.
Usually got to pay extra for that.
Holy. I looked over and Buddy just took an eye shot. Oh.
I hope that monk fruit doesn't sting the eye.
The worst part is I still have no idea what monk fruit is, so it might.
Oh my God! It's
Well, I'll just get it in here right now. As just let everyone
Get
know
it into ya.
we're drinking this out of an IPA glass. So
not 5. He's drinking it straight to the eye.
He's drinking it through his eyeballs. But make sure you use that proper glassware when you have your beers.
He's got a cornea.
My eye has a 4 ABV in it right now.
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
Nobody touches me with a 10-foot pole.
All right, so let's take a look at this 4-track here.
Oh man,
So same kind of coloring, if you will, as the last
Yes.
one that we
it
just
is
had from
very
him.
similar.
It's interesting to note this. I think we go back to Chris's glassware, right? So
Yeah.
by using the IPA glass, we kind of get 2 different separate colors through
that's
this,
true.
clarities or opaqueness, if you will.
Sorry, you're talking about clarity? I can only see out of one eye right now.
I kind of want to kick in this shit and have you just jump around like a pirate.
Be like Peter Griffin off a Family Guy like that.
I think we referenced that already.
Yeah,
this
I think
season.
we have,
It's
yeah.
the second time.
Yeah.
I like Family Guy. What can I say?
Yeah, rinse and repeat, head and shoulders. So yeah, looking at this is because the glass, the shape of it, the bottom portion of it is a little bit more condensed, so it does provide a little bit more clarity through the bottom portion.
Yeah.
But as you move up the glass and it expands its girth, if you will, it becomes more hazy. So it's kind of interesting just the way that it looks in the glass with the 2
Yeah.
different kind of colors with it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The one note I will make about this beer, as producer Mike is just, pumping up again with the knowledge, is that this beer doesn't impact blood sugar levels, which is nice.
Well, the monk fruit doesn't.
Oh, is it the monk fruit?
That's the the research that he's been doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't take that as full science.
Again, only reading out of one eye currently, so everything's being,
and
a little blurry.
This is for you, Brett. Year round is the season.
Oh, monk fruit's made year round?
Yeah. Grown. Yeah.
Grown? Made?
Yeah, no, they...
Same shit, different day.
Okay. Well, so yeah, I think it is interesting to note with this. Obviously, it is keto friendly. So here's a shout out, Nito Keto, for you. And if that's something that you subscribe to, you know what? You can still enjoy a beer. So there's no holdbacks on it.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
So I cheers to that when we eventually do cheers.
Can that happen soon?
If shortly enough. The smell, I don't think we really kind of talked about the smell of it.
Yeah, it doesn't have a really strong smell. Like
No.
the yuzu had a really strong citrus smell, and this one is nothing major. Like a little bit of citrus, but
So this
nothing
might
crazy.
tell you that monk fruit doesn't have a scent to it?
Maybe, or very mild.
Very mild scent?
Yeah.
It does create a sweetness sensation 250 times stronger than sucrose.
Sweetness sensation. That's what hit my eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Graham have something in common. All right. So there we go.
Gotta get Graham in there.
He's just a cracker. You know, Graham cracker.
Cracker or crackhead?
Hey! Oh no! No! So yeah, it's it looks like a very simple kind of beer, right? So it's going to be interesting. So
Well, I don't know. Let's talk about first. Has anyone had a low calorie beer before? Because I don't think I actually have.
I think I go back to like the mainstream low-cal kind of varieties of
Yeah.
those.
I think
I've tried those.
Mill Street had a low-cal one that maybe I had, but for the most part, I don't really watch my calories, so I really don't care about the calories in our beer.
And Molson had what, 67?
Yeah, that's
was
right.
it? So I think it was the 67 calories on that.
Yeah.
Mostly the domestics have came out with low-cal stuff. I don't think any
For
real
sure.
craft brews,
Right.
microbrews, macrobrews.
That's what
have
I mean.
come
Like
out,
more of like the kind of the
And
beer.
it'll be interesting because, when we look at beers, they don't publish their nutrition facts on the cans. So I'd be interested to know how many calories we're actually drinking for every
which is
beer.
good to know for everybody, for sure.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about calorie counting, and that's fine. That's fine. So should we get into it?
Let's taste the beer.
Let's
All right.
taste, okay.
We've been holding it long enough. Okay. Different.
Yeah, that's right. Different is right.
I mean, it's definitely not as flavorful as a normal IPA, if you will. But
I don't get that IPA kind of feel to it.
no, definitely not. I mean, you actually kind of do get a little bit of bitterness, which is interesting because you mentioned
Almost
the
tastes like a
IPAs.
bitter lager,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing special to me, right? It's one sip in, subject to change here. But there's a bit of a citrus. Now, here's the thing with this is I don't know what the monk fruit tastes like. But in
Right.
comparison to the Yuzu fruit, that was very citrus heavy.
And very strong, too.
That's what I mean. Very strong.
Yeah.
So the monk fruit might be a little bit more sedated than the Yuzu.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that kind of plays out as I get through the beer. But it does taste very, very light, right?
And I feel as though it's because there's not a whole lot of sugar. The sugars aren't coming through, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously you got to keep it low calorie.
Right.
In my opinion, I mean, this beer is different for me. I don't know if necessarily that's a good thing or a bad thing, but this is something that is very off the realm of what maybe I would pick up
Yeah.
at Beer Store, LCBO.
I think if you were somebody who was looking for low calorie options and who was looking for a keto friendly option, I think this would be a good option because I think some of the other competitors probably are just like no flavor. It does lack flavor in terms of an IPA, but it
does try to
some
put something
flavor.
forward.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think it's a very good point, Chris, is that this is trying to be exactly what it is, right? It is a low-calorie option. It is keto-friendly. It's
Yeah.
nice to have that because that market isn't large.
Right, definitely not, and definitely not in the craft industry as we were talking about, right? Like,
So
mostly
this
the
does
big
cater
guys.
to a section, and we're
Yeah.
all for that, right? You cater to a different kind of community or a section of a community, and this kind of hits the mark on
whatever
that.
is going to get people in the doors, right? Like,
Right.
if this gets people in the doors at Radical Road, then why not?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have the can in my hand, so this is my time to shine, right? They do actually have
It's your time to shine. To shine, we will
Shine away.
debate.
But they do have different notifications on each of their cans, and I think I missed the first one because apparently I didn't read it. But now that I have both my eyesights back, in terms of both my eyes,
Both
I can read again.
You got 2 eyesights?
2020. No, I'm kidding. This one says, we live on a road less traveled. And I can definitely say that I have not traveled on a road of a low-calorie, keto-friendly IPA before. So this is new for me.
I agree with that for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a road less traveled, like we talked about. Not a lot of breweries doing this sort of beer.
So as we drive down this road less traveled, let's look at the top 5 flavor profiles. So we have, coincidentally enough, number 1 is citrus, 2 watery, 3 zippy, 4 bitter, and 5 stone fruit.
So
what does zippy taste like?
Yeah, what is the zippy?
Well, I would say zippy is more like a and it's maybe a little bit of a zing zing at the end, you know?
I didn't really realize that
But
cartoon.
how do you taste that?
Just close your eyes and replay that.
Yeah.
Cut it back 15 seconds and replay it, and you'll know exactly how that tastes. So go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Citrus, you know, like
A little bit, but not
a tiny
much,
bit.
no.
I do get a little bit more maybe than what you guys are.
Yeah.
I can taste the citrus come through. Yeah.
Watery, I get where they're coming from.
Yes.
Yep.
It's that, and that's fair, right? Like we talked about, you can't have all those sugars that you might usually have in a beer for that yeast to just eat away at.
It's like a watery bitterness
Yeah.
in this beer. It's pretty much
Yeah.
what I would describe it as, at least.
For sure. The zippy, yeah, it's kind of hard. I think it's just because it packs a little bit more of that punch. It's not a full slap, as Brett would say,
Yeah.
but it's got like maybe more of that zip that kind of comes in. The stone fruit, I think, is just kind of yet again, it's kind of a cop out to kind of put that in there.
Yeah.
Stone
I
fruit
mean,
is
monk
more.
fruit is not a tap. It's not tapped.
Well, I'm just saying, like, to say stone fruit is more of a description of what the fruit is that you're using, right?
Is
Like,
monk fruit and stone
Right.
fruit the same thing?
so stone fruit's anything like it has a pit, right? So that's a stone fruit,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you for your knowledge.
Yes, no
I
problem.
appreciate it.
So that's what I mean.
Farmer Tyler.
Yeah, let's go, boys. So I just think it's kind of a cop out to put that as a flavor profile because the stone fruit could be anything from like a nectarine, peach, anything that has the pit in it, right? So to say this is a stone fruit flavor profile, that could vary depending on what the fruit actually is.
I guess Tyler's banking it with producer Mike to do the fruit podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody's got to be the voice of that puppy.
But hearing you speak for 45 minutes an episode is something I probably wouldn't. No, I'm kidding.
I love you, Fife.
Yeah.
Thank
So, well, we've kind of talked about what we feel about this beer. So let's see what everyone else on Untappd has to say about this one.
Yeah, so Sam G. Squamo, Squamo, on October 27th had this to say. So the quote was, really nice for a low-cal brewski, very chill. Beer can rely heavily on a high-calorie ingredients. So when it's pretty good and low-calorie, it's no small feat. So thumbs up. They give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like we mentioned, beer probably has a ton of calories. Good thing they don't.
I'm a big
actually
fan of the
put
word
it on the
brewski.
can.
You tossing a brewski for the broski?
Brewski for the Boski.
I'm there.
Brewmaster Brown, same username. So I don't have to actually spell that out, do I?
No.
No, you're good.
Thank God. On November 21st, stated, well, according to the can, apparently I'm on the keto diet while drinking this beer. It won't last long. There's an odd lack of body that one associates with diet beers, or it's just the advertising playing tricks on me. And they gave it a 3.5 out of 5 as well.
Interesting.
Wow. So I guess it comes to us for our ratings. I'm going to rate this one a 3.00.
Yeah, I'm going to go lower than that.
Okay.
I understand what marketing they're doing and
Yeah.
where that's going. But for me personally, it's just not my cup of tea.
For sure.
Or, glass of beer, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm going to rate it a 2.25.
2.25. Okay.
Ooh. I'm gonna rate it similar to you, Brett. I'm gonna rate it a 2.5. I think that it's a good beer if you were looking for this type of beer, but since I'm not, I can't really put it any higher. So, yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah. So then the producer is going to come in with a 3.25. Which brings our total. The math is in quickly here. Congratulations, Mike. With a 2.75 overall.
Good job, producer, with the math. Good job. That concludes our discussion on Radical Road Brewing and the reviews on the Yuzu and the 4-track.
So stay tuned because we're going to discuss the current happenings of the NBA and give our thoughts on the upcoming season.
So I'm pretty excited about this because, I kind of had a little bit of hand in terms of this episode. So I got to pick what we talked about.
Yep.
But I'm pretty excited about the NBA season coming up.
Yeah.
I know.
It's not quantum physics?
No. Go back and redo your research.
Man.
And I would absolutely have nothing to add to that conversation when we talk about quantum physics. But
I don't think any of us would.
none of us would have anything to do.
Absolutely not.
But we should have talked about fruit. No, I'm kidding.
We did.
It's true. So the 2020-2021 NBA season is going to start on December 22nd. 23rd, actually. I just double checked.
I was going to say, did it not
23rd,
change?
No,
it did
23rd
change.
for the Raptors, I thought.
No. It's starting on the Wednesday,
Yeah.
23rd.
Okay.
The Raptors are starting that day as well, though. The Raptors are starting against the Pelicans.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah.
day.
But they have pushed it from the
have pushed
22nd
it.
to the 23rd.
All right.
They have pushed it.
Okay.
So lots of different dynamics happening in the NBA this year. Firstly, no random marijuana drug testing this year.
That's what we lead with. Well, apparently in the bubble, the players loved that there was no drug testing.
They like
So-
to get,
Read into that what you will.
I'm just going to use some
Speculation.
I'm just going to use some James Blunt here for a second. They like to get fucking high. You can bleep that out later.
Yeah. James Blunt, and that's the reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
James Blunt, hi, get it now?
No, I got it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's all.
So what do you got for your NBA conversation? This is your episode,
so
Brett.
it feels kind of weird. We're middle of December and the NBA season is about to start. Usually it's kind of in full swing right now. So they're playing 72 games this year as opposed to the regular 82. I think it's written into their TV contracts with ESPN and TNT that they only get paid if they play 72 games. That's why they played the 8 games in the
To
bubble
get to the 72,
before the
yeah.
playoffs.
100%.
So it'll be interesting to when you kind of think about like records, right? You think about like 50 wins is good for an NBA teams. You have to kind of recalibrate that
Absolutely.
when you think about that.
Like if you remember when Golden State went 73-9
Yeah.
3 years ago.
yeah.
Can't do that this year.
No.
Just saying.
It'd be hard to do,
It would be
it's
hard
hard
to do.
to do.
but you can still have the same win percentage. Just
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
as
it's
you
all
say,
based
kind
on
of
win percentage.
The win percentage.
just win percentage.
And that's
is
how
what
they were
matters.
going to do the playoffs, was just based on win percentage, because some
Yeah.
people had different amounts of
right.
games being
And
played.
then, so what are they doing with the playoffs then for this year? Then
So this year they're doing the 7 to 10 play-in seed games, if you will. Again, I liked it last year.
Yeah.
I felt as though Phoenix kind of got robbed because they were 1-8-0 in the bubble.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's interesting that they're just doing it 7 to 10, no matter what. Because last year in the bubble, it was, I think you had to be within 4 games of the 8 seed in order to make it to that tournament. So you could have a 10 seed that's like, 5 games behind the 9 seed or the 7 or the 8 seed, whoever they're going to play, right?
they're behind. Let's just say
Yeah,
that.
they're way behind, and it's like you're still going to give them a chance to get into the playoffs. So.
and that's the thing, right? It's just that everybody's got a chance,
Yeah,
right? Like
Right.
anything can happen. You could just
Literally-
get on a tear, and then that's
Exactly.
it.
2/3 of the league is getting into the playoffs.
And it's
Right.
almost like, going back to the wild card. Look at the Nationals, right? They won a wild card game last.
We're talking about MLB now.
I know, yeah. I'm just going.
No,
they
I just-
went all the way through, right?
This isn't for you. This is for the listeners. But yes, the
I'll go
Washington
back
Nationals.
now. Don't
Yes.
worry. How do we feel about Toronto playing in Tampa?
Is what it is.
Right?
It's interesting. I mean, I don't think any of the teams are going to have fans. So
I actually read an article that there might be some that have limited fans.
okay.
So
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
know how
Texas,
that's going to play. Yeah.
Florida, but I don't think the Raptors will.
I know the
think it might be
NBA
Orlando,
was trying to get people in the luxury suites because obviously they're far away from the court. That was really what they were kind of interested in, is protecting the players from the fans,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how well that's going to work, but
Yeah.
to the point of, okay, they're in Tampa. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
Teams relocate, and that's just where
it's
they're
good
at
for the players
this.
because they're paying a lot less in taxes.
Yeah. But
for them.
I'm wondering how that actually works, though. Are they going to be getting paid in U.S. dollars, or because they're part of still the Raptors,
so
do they
they-
get paid in Canadian
They
dollars?
always get paid in U.S. dollars, and
Right, okay.
you get taxed on where your games
where your
are
games
played.
are. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, it's
which
different
makes
over
sense.
there.
Okay, because
Yeah.
the revenue. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
But I mean, big signing. Obviously, they brought back Van Vliet.
Yeah, which
thank
was needed.
God.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't bring him back,
The thing is
we'd be fighting for that 7 to 10 seed.
I'm interested though, because with Van Vliet, right? Like he said, I want to get paid. I want to get paid. I want to get paid. Right? Like he wants that money, and then I don't think he ever wanted to leave the Raptors.
I think he wanted to get paid, but at the same time, he wanted to be loyal to Toronto.
Yeah.
So I have a
Yeah.
feeling like if, let's say, I think Detroit and the Knicks were rumored to be in on him, right?
Sure.
I feel as though he would have took a little bit less to come back to
Home
Toronto.
team discount.
Obviously, playing in Detroit and New York right now, not exactly what I would be
Well, and
wanting
that's
to do.
the thing with the way the NBA salary cap works is if you have your bird rights with a certain team, which he has with the Raptors,
Right.
they can sign you over the cap, whereas other teams would have to have the cap space, and no one really had cap space this year. So it was, like you said, either Detroit or New York. Both those teams are absolutely awful, so you might as well stay in Toronto.
Awful is right. And it's kind of the same thing that with MLSE owning the Raptors as a whole, it's different than a single person owning the Raptors because as a corporation, they weren't losing money.
No.
Right? They're still
No, they
making
weren't.
money throughout. Same thing as like the Jays with Rogers.
Yeah.
The one big deal that just happened in the past week, Russell Westbrook for John Wall.
That's a big one?
That's apparently was kind of a big deal.
I don't know if it's really a big deal.
It's big names.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't really move the needle for either team. I mean, I think Washington will be better than they were if Wall didn't play, obviously.
Are we talking about a bunch of has-beens, though?
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's just like anything. It's
John
like,
Wall hasn't played a competitive game in almost 2 years.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
So
Westbrook
you don't
is
even know
still,
what to expect
you know,
from Wall.
I think it's a lose-lose for both teams, and I'm pretty sure, producer Mike is in the same kind of ball game that I'm in.
For sure. And I'm surprised that Washington had to give up a first-round pick
to
get Westbrook.
Right.
Like, Houston gave up 2 first-round picks and 2 first-round pick swaps to get Westbrook for Chris Paul, and then another first-round pick by Washington.
So what I kind of see with this trade, right,
Yeah.
is this is like 2 fantasy kind of players that are looking at it and they're playing with their heart, not with their head. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to have this guy. I need to have this guy. Let's make it work. And I need you to toss in an extra draft.
Right.
And I'm just like, you know what? It doesn't speak to me.
Yeah,
Just-
it doesn't really change much, I
Right.
don't think, for either of those teams. I think Washington will probably be in the 8 or the 9 or 10 seed, so they'll be in that playoff.
Yep.
Houston, I mean, they still have James Harden, so they'll probably be, top 8.
Put up 55 shots a night and score
Yeah.
40 points. Same with like Westbrook and Bradley Beal, the backcourt in Washington.
Yeah.
Like they're going to put up 60, 70 points a night. Their front court, I could probably play in their front court because they're terrible.
Well, and they have absolutely no defense.
Exactly.
So-
It's like me in high school. I would play
Yeah.
like Andrea Bargnani, just drain threes in the corner and play no defense.
And then walk back. Take your time,
Yeah.
get back to the
I know
defensive side.
the one sad thing about the Raptors this year, though, is that Gasol and Ibaka did leave.
Yeah.
They went for brighter pastures, if you will. A little bit warmer weather in
Definitely
California.
warmer pastures, yeah.
But they did bring in Aaron
Possibly
Bynes.
greener.
Possibly, yeah.
They did bring in Aaron Bynes, Alex Len, also Riet Boucher as well, who's going to see a lot more playing time this
Yeah.
year. I have good hopes for the Raptors. I think they're going to probably be within that 3-4 seed.
I agree.
Yeah, I think 45 to 50 is probably where they're
But
going to
what's it really matter when you have the Lakers that are just stacked?
Yeah, they are pretty stacked, especially
Yeah.
with LeBron doing his 2-year $85 million and Davis just re-upping again.
I
Yeah.
think the Lakers, they won the championship. I think they probably definitely won the offseason as well.
I was just going to say, they also did better on who they got this offseason.
Yeah.
They're a better team this year going into it than they were last year, right? Like you got Schroeder, you got Harrell, you got Gasol, you got Wesley Matthews now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have taken your team from what it was to what it is, and you've upgraded.
Yeah, but I also like the Clippers getting Ibaka. That's definitely an upgrade over Harrell on probably both ends of the floor.
I would agree.
And then I think they still have a trade to make because I don't think Pat Beverly is going to be their point
The Clippers
guard.
still have something to do, for
Yeah.
sure. I think, personally, that it's going to be a Clippers-Lakers Western Conference final this year.
And it should have been last year.
It should have been, yes. Denver went off.
Yeah.
So who are the 2 betting favorites then? What do we got?
I think the Lakers obviously repeat.
Lakers and
You know what? I think finally, if nothing happens in Milwaukee,
Bucks.
I think the Bucks finally
That's what
get
I
to the
got too.
finals. Do
Yeah.
the Bucks win? Absolutely not a freaking chance. Lakers in 6.
Yep.
I'm going with the Lakers in the finals also, but I'm putting them against the Sixers. I think the Sixers made some
Yeah,
really good
they
moves.
did, yeah.
I think we'll see a Ben Simmons for James Harden trade at some point in the season, and the Sixers
game
go
changer,
to the
right?
finals. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Brett though. I put down Lakers and Bucks, and I'm thinking probably the Bucks are going to take probably about 6. So we do have producer Mike coming in, and he says Lakers and Celtics.
Oh.
Celtics, really?
Off the
Maybe
board.
if Kemba can stay healthy, but it doesn't.
They got rid of
seem so
Hayward,
far.
so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
They went to
we'll see.
Charlotte. I don't know why, but
Wow, 104 million.
money does talk, eh? Anyway, that wraps up our conversation on the NBA season. Go Raptors. Obviously, we're all Raptors fans, so go
Absolutely,
Raptors.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on the flip side for our goodbyes.
Yeah, before we get to the goodbyes, I did want to take note. We did get a package that was actually delivered to us. So we want to kind of thank some of our fans out there that are supplying us with beer paraphernalia.
Christmas gift, if you will.
Yeah, Christmas gifts. So this episode's going to drop relatively soon here. And with that being said, if you do want to, supply us with a Christmas gift, just hit us up in our DMs and our Instagram, and we will be happy to give you some shipping address information. But
What
we
a
did
great
get some
subtle plug.
we did get some growlers that went up from Sager Brewery. So coincidentally, obviously, my last name is Sager, and so one of our faithful listeners since episode 1 sent us some growlers from Sager Brewery, which is located, I believe, just outside of Rochester, or is in Rochester.
We're in Rochester, yeah.
Yeah, so
Nice.
we appreciate that. So if you
And really nice looking growlers, too.
yeah,
We support all breweries, Canadian, American,
Absolutely.
wherever,
we
right?
do not discriminate on this podcast.
No, we do not.
So as Brett did mention, we will be back with our wrap up. Thank you.
Well, I guess that's all the time we have today for this curvy episode on Radical Road. Make sure to tell your friends, family, and Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, nice. Well, hopefully Kawhi's listening, and I hope you guys listen again every other Thursday as Craft Beer Connoisseurs releases a new episode.
So from all of us and producer Mike, I'm Tyler.
I'm Brett,
And I'm Chris.
and together we are the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.